All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a pretty incredible journey. We're heading into the world of Arreqqana to see how an entire landscape, we're talking mountains, rivers, even cities, can literally weave its own language. It's this beautiful tapestry of sound, and we're going to pull on every thread. So, let's start with a kind of wild thought. Can a landscape actually learn to speak? I mean, really? Can the sound of the wind or the way a river rushes past, can that seep into the very bones of a language? Well, in the world of Arreqqana, the answer isn't just yes, it's a huge, resounding yes.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this linguistic tour. First up, we'll look at this idea of a land that speaks. Then we'll dive into the echoes of the wild, followed by the voices of the community. After that, we're climbing to the summit of sound, and we'll finish up with the language of the gods. Let's get into it.
So, first up, a land that speaks. This is the absolute core concept of everything we're talking about today. The source material calls it the linguistic spine of Arreqqana, which is just perfect. Because here, language isn't just, a bunch of words we use to talk to each other. It's more like a living map, a sonic mirror of the land and the people in it.
But how does that actually work? Well, it all comes down to something called dialectal conjugations. And I know, that sounds super academic, right? But it's actually incredibly simple and kind of cool. Just think of them as unique endings that get tacked onto words, like a sonic signature. By just hearing how someone finishes a word, you can instantly tell where they're from: the coast, the city, the mountains. These little endings are the threads that weave that whole tapestry together.
All right, let's begin our tour in the echoes of the wild. This is where things get really interesting, because these dialects aren't shaped by people at all. Nope, they're forged by the raw, untamed forces of nature itself.
Just look at how directly these sounds reflect the world around them. For the coastal dialect, you get these soft, almost wave-like endings, like wa and sha. Now contrast that with the desert. The sounds get strong, dry, almost brittle, right? You hear fa and baha. It's like you can feel the resilience, the wind. And then there's the forest dialect. It's all whispered, leafy endings like ga and la. Flowing, but totally grounded. It's amazing.
And you can really hear it when you put it all together. Take nakiawa. It means flowing softness. You can practically feel the tide pulling at your feet in that word. Then you have sakarfa, desert flame. That sound just carries the harshness of the heat, doesn't it? And my favorite, sajiha, which means root prayer. It sounds just as quiet and deep as the forest itself.
Okay, our trip through the wild isn't over yet. Now we're focusing on water and air. The river dialect, as you'd expect, is all flowing and bubbling, and you get these great doubled sounds like ha-ha and dada. The island dialect gets all light and melodic, kind of like the trade winds, using ka and khaksa. And the jungle dialect, it is just so playful and rhythmic, with these endings like pa and za that literally sound like they're dancing.
Just listen to this. Soraha translates to river chant. You can really hear the current in that, can't you? Then there's Naraka, an island lullaby, so breezy and light. And Marapa, a wild bloom, has that exact playful, spiraling energy of jungle life. This is literally language as a soundscape. Okay, so we've heard the land speak, but what happens when people start building communities? Let's find out. We're now moving out of the wild and into the voices of the community to see how the language changes as you go from a tiny hearth all the way up to a massive high-rise.
And you can see how the language just shifts right along with society. It all starts in the village, right? The sounds are warm, rustic, what the source calls earth-tone speech, with endings like ka and ta. But as villages grow into towns, the language gets more practical, a little more clipped. That's your towny dialect, with da and ma. And then you hit the city, and boom, it's modern, fast, almost stylish, with these quick endings like ja and va. And these examples tell a story all on their own. They show a really clear shift in what people care about. In the village, it's bericha, which means harvest fruit. Makes sense. In town, life gets a bit more direct. Jarada, work done. But in the big city, you get khiyaraja, urban love.
The language itself shows you the changing values of the people.
All right, from the hustle and bustle of the cities, our journey is about to go vertical. We're heading up to the summit of sound. Up here, high in the mountains, the language gets heavier. It feels like it has real weight, echoing right off the peaks.
And what's cool is that even within the mountains, there's this huge contrast. The northern mountain dialect is sharp, but also really lyrical. It uses endings like ska and ya to mix strength with a kind of spiritual grace. But head south, and it gets way more grounded, more rolling. The endings va and za are weighty. They almost sound like shifting stone.
And you can totally feel that difference in the words themselves. Nakirza means stone voice. It sounds sharp, clear, resonant, right? But then listen to taraksa, mountain oath. It just feels heavy, permanent, solemn. The sound itself is carrying all the gravity.
And so, we finally reached the end of our tour. The very top. The language of the gods. This is the absolute apex of speech in Arreqqana. This is where language gets refined into something else entirely. Pure power and divinity.
Okay, now this is fascinating. Check this out. The royal dialect actually borrows its sounds from the southern mountain dialect, the same za and va endings. But look at how it flips the meaning. Tarak za was mountain oath, something solid and grounded in the earth. But the royals take that sound and make savraza, a crown oath. It's elevated, majestic. It's the exact same sound, but the context completely changes it from earthy to authoritative. How cool is that?
And then there's one more, the divine dialect. And this one is not for everyday chatter. Not at all. Its endings, lala and rara, are described as luminous, and they are reserved only for hymns, for sacred prayers. A phrase like lala, lala, which means moon mother divine, isn't just a word. It's a sound designed to connect the speaker to something far beyond our physical world.
So, after that whirlwind tour, what does it all add up to? 13 unique dialects. That's 13 different ways the world of Arreqqana has found its voice. And yet, they all weave together to form one single, unbelievably rich linguistic tapestry.
And honestly, I don't think I can say it any better than the source material itself. It says, together, these conjugations form the linguistic spine of Arreqqana, where every region adds its resonance, from the river's hum to the desert's whisper. Just, wow. What a beautiful way to capture how language and place can become one.
You know, this whole journey through Arreqqana really shows us that language can be so much more than just words. It can be a living, breathing reflection of the world around us. And that leaves me with one last question for you. What sound does your world make? If you stopped and really listened, what dialect is your own landscape speaking to you?